Hello and welcome to the Quever channel. I'm Jason, your host, and I wanted to do a little video on how I use my solar panels, because I don't have a full solar system. I don't have a way to completely look after everything for that. It is one thing that I wanted to do for the house, but the price of it was completely out of how much was available. So I have I have 3 solar panels in the backyard. Each one of them is 300 watts. That means 900 watts in total of available power. They connect to a Anker 2000 watt hour. What would you call it? It's a battery bank and it's a generator. It's on wheels. It can be moved around, and it's at the moment trickle fed. So that has quite a bit in. When it's full at 100%, I do one of 2 things. I either take a 1000 watt hour Anker. It's a portable generator. It's downstairs at the moment, and charge that up to max, which uses about half of what's there. And I have another one called a Blue Yeti, which is 776 watt hours. Those 2 are the primary ones in the house that provide backup power if anything happens. Either one of those 2 little items, well, not little, about this big by this big, could run this computer system and my Quest 3 headset and all of my backup supplies, all of my phone, my controllers, everything that can be powered by electricity for weeks. Because you've got to remember, even if it's a wet day, even if it's a dark day, even if it's a rainy day, a small amount of charge is going into those solar panels and going straight down the thing. I have 2 other 100 watt solar panels. At the moment they're not used, but they feed into a connector which can be plugged into one of my units downstairs and charge it directly. So that's like a backup for the solar. I also have a few very tiny 30 to 40 watt solar panels, which I don't use anymore, but they're there if they're needed. Now, apart from the big battery banks, those 3 battery banks that are the big ones, what do I use them for? Well, the first thing is these. These aren't available anymore. These are called a RAV Power. They have within them 26,800 amp hour, which is about 99 watt hours, 99.16 watt hours maximum. Not anywhere near like that anymore. These were bought in 2016. I started buying these. No, actually, yeah, 2016 they were first ones were bought. 2015 probably as well. These were used for Paola to always take one of these to hospital with her, so she could charge up her phone. I do them in relay and have them charged at home from solar power, and then I'd take one in every time I went to the hospital, and take home the ones that she'd used and powered her stuff with, so that we didn't have to rely on plugging in a charger, because back then the beds didn't have many charge points and they weren't really available. And if you wanted to plug in a charger, it had to be certified as compliant with the hospital's health and safety regulations and tested by their electrician before it could be used. So it was much better just give this and give a long cable and it could charge the phone. Now these ones, because they're so old, don't have USB-C connectors. You charge it via a USB, I think it's a USB 2 micro USB connector, the little one there at the side. You can just about see it if I put it there, yeah. And it has 3 outputs. Now, this is limited to about, it has total output 25 watts this can give out, but each of these little connectors can only give out a maximum of 11-12 watts per connector. And if you put more than the amount it's got thingy, it reduces all of them. So this is, you can charge little things like, for example, stuff like this, your rechargeable mouse, it's not for fast charging, but overnight it will charge a phone, a tablet, anything like that. And this, when you think a normal phone like this probably has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, this can charge that almost 6 times before it drains completely. And a lot of these other items like controllers and that have much smaller connectors on, much smaller batteries inside them capacity. So you can charge pretty much anything. I can charge up my phone, I can charge up my earbuds and everything that I use with my system for going outside. Everything like that can be recharged using this base original one. And these two, I've got one more of these that still works. No, actually I've got 2 more of these that are still functioning. They are charging at the moment on the solar panels at the backyard. These 2 are in the house, and there's one more downstairs which is charging my tablet that I use for the security footage when I'm sitting downstairs. So I can do them in relay. These are full capacity, ready to be used. This and this, we can click on the button here to show that you've got 4 LEDs, that thingy. But like I said, these don't exist anymore. These are old school. I'm surprised they still have charge. I still got a security sticker on there because it's got infrared paint. Some of the security paint has our postcode on the back of it and that. So that's the first one. That's the oldest ones, and they still work, and they're brilliant for all the baseline stuff. Like I plug one into my iPhone here, so it can charge up the iPhone and that. And then when the charge goes down, I just replace it with a new one. Now we move on to these anchor ones. These are anchor ones, and these are still available, I believe. They're the basic anchor ones, not with all the fancy stuff on. Once again, they've got 3 connectors there, all that type, no USB-C, and 2 micro USB connectors at that. This can be charged by 2, so you can charge it faster. You can plug in 2 of these thingies and charge it by 2 things at the same time. But it gets quite hot when you do that, so I only like to charge it via 1. These can charge up to, I believe, these have got more like 30 watt output in total, and they can send something like 15 watt to a single connector. So it's 15 watts. So they can charge things a little bit faster. I've got 2 of those, and they supplement those ones. This little lot here are not for charging big stuff like, you can charge something like a Steam Deck or something like a tablet, but not while you're using it. It won't provide enough power. They need more power. So this is all for the smaller stuff and for trickle charging during the night. I have used these in the past to trickle charge my Steam Deck when it's turned off, to charge it to full. And you can plug it in, this into the Steam Deck while it's turned on, and it will extend the time, but you're not putting enough power in to deal with it. So that's when we come to the next level stuff. And I have 3 of these. One is charging at the moment outside on the solar panels. So the first one is this one. It's a 65 watt base one. It's got a USB-C disc. It can connect to 2 normal USB connectors, and it can connect to 1 of the thingies, a USB-C, and it can provide a full 65 watts. Look at that, it'll tell you what 95% it's at the moment. So this can pump out 65 watts. This, when you think about it, the battery on something like this, just a minute, give me a little minute, I'll just pause this. Okay, so I've just done a little bit of checking on it to make sure I was going to give you the right information. This holds 74 watt hours at max capacity, which means it can charge my ThinkPad, which is actually around that's a 41 hour. It has a 41 hour watt hour battery, so this can increase the time that it can almost recharge the ThinkPad fully twice, which means instead of about 8 hours, 9 hours of use out of the ThinkPad, if it was on battery, I could get it closer to almost 24 hours with this on top. So this is for the big stuff. This is for running this lot. This is for running stuff like my tablet if I'm using my tablet as a primary source. So this is this one. Now I do have one more. I've got, as I said, I've got two of these. One's charging, one's here. But then I have this one, which is a Ugreen 145 watt hours, 2500 milliamp. So this has got more capacity version. Now to read this, I'm going to have to just pause this again and do a check. This has got 90 watt hours, and this can throw out 145 watts to a USB if needed. It can really kick ass, this can. Although it can't split them between all of them, but yeah, this can throw out 145 watt via this one here, which is pretty amazing. Now I do have an Anker better one, but it's actually not working fully at the moment. So that one I don't count as a stable one. I'm trying to let it recharge in there as well. But these in total mean that, let's say I lost power in the house. I could still do all the stuff I do using these, using my other system. What I do is basically plug in my network into one of the big ones, the big battery banks, which would run it for, because those systems don't use much power, that would run it for about, I would say, almost a week without recharging if I used the 1000 watt hour one. And with the others, and with the ability, unless there is actually no sun at all, then I guess even on a bad day, even on the really bad, let's talking worst miserable, raining, horrible weather that is just crappy and not doing anything, that kind of weather, I can, even in that situation, I can actually still get about 45 to 60 watts per hour trickle feeding into the big battery bank. So it's sustainable power. I can go off grid with all this stuff and actually keep going and doing my stuff. I couldn't have my big PC on, of course, although I could plug this into the main big unit and I could run this for about 3-4 hours a day, but that would drain a massive amount of it. This thing here, 75 watts, including everything here. That's from this to monitor and everything if I wanted to do that, which is pretty amazing. So that's how my self-sustaining stuff works if I need it to. And actually even now I'm starting to use it more to make sure I'm more energy efficient, because one of the biggest bills I have per month is the electricity. The gas, I remember the gas is only used during the winter really for when it gets really cold, it's starting to warm up enough that pretty soon I won't need to turn on the heating. So the gas is only used for like 3 months a year, which means at the moment I'm running about £195 worth of electricity and gas per month. But as soon as that'll go down to 100. If I have all my stuff on it, if I have everything going, then I'll use about £150 worth of electricity per month. But I can drop that down absolutely massively by using my solar panels and by using this computer instead of my big computer, and only turning my arcade machine on. It only takes 2 minutes when it's on full, so only turning stuff like that on when it's needed. I can leave this computer on 24/7, this little laptop, and when it's just in what's called NAS mode or Plex mode to give me entertainment to my TV, and the TV is like this TV on low power mode draws about 12 watts, so I can keep this turned on, and when it's not being used for stuff like OBS, when I'm not actually using this ThinkPad, it goes down to like 5 watts, 2.5 watts, the CPU does, and the entire system starts drawing less than 10 watts. So that's doable easily to have it as my NAS. So yeah, I just wanted to do a video about all that. So bye bye for now.